Hey everyone. So I don't really like asking for stuff a lot, but there are a few things I would like to, kind of be heard out on, I guess. Well, this is going to be, discussing the news of Panda recently. Well, I was going to be discussing MKC, its future, my role in it, and all that. And I will say, it's like, I don't like asking for stuff a lot of times because I feel like, people should watch your videos and stuff because of what you bring to the table, not necessarily because of who you are in the community or what position you have or all of that. But sometimes I kind of feel like want to get some things out there on the mind and all that because I think a lot of the things I'm seeing affects a lot of us and our future and all that and the opportunities we have. So yeah, I do kind of want to talk about Panda and all that. And I don't really do unscripted videos very much. But this is gonna be one of those times. Just gonna kind of speak from the heart. Kind of chill. Got the Christmas tree on next to us. Yeah, let's get into it, I guess. So for those of you that weren't on Twitter yesterday or haven't heard the news and all that, there's been a lot of Smash drama recently. There's been a Smash World Tour circuit. Organized largely by the Smash community, the grassroots part of it, VG Bootcamp, and all of that. And they were in talks with Nintendo recently about, having a licensed tournament series. And that was essentially taken down largely for unknown reasons, but the reason seems to be very related to Panda, another partner of Nintendo esports organization. And a lot of it appeared to be that they don't necessarily want to have a lot of competition. And, this really got me thinking about, opportunities and all the like. We've been talking more about, hosting more of our tournaments in person and all of that. And seeing this happen is really scary, and it really kind of puts corporatism, if you will, into what we see as things we take for granted, just running tournaments in general and all of that. And this kind of changes things, maybe not yet at our level, but it definitely is cause for concern because it makes you wonder, is anything you do going to really hold up with time and all of that? And this goes beyond, just organizing lands and in-person tournaments and all that, but our site uses Mario Kart in the name of it and all that. It's like it makes you wonder if you grow too big, like are they going to come after us, etc. And it's really sad to think about because we're not really in this to like milk their IP or something like that. We're just fans at the end of the day who likes a game series and wants to meet people and organize competitions to play with other people that also really enjoy the game and stuff. And I think that this kind of stuff should, be encouraged, if anything. But at the end of the day, we do have to look at the reality that, corporations can do what they want sometimes. And it'd be great if they were nice, but you can't always, we can't always know what they're thinking or know about what's happening behind closed doors and all that. So there's a few things I do want to talk about just for the future and all that because, you know, I feel like the thing that needs to be said has to do a lot with, community trust and all that, and, kind of banding together and, you know, being a community and all that. Um, Last thing I want to do before I get into that is, kind of talk about like, a theory with MKCentral and all of that. And going back to when the site launched and everything, I wanted it to be kind of labeled as, a home for Mario Kart tournaments, not really a home for competitive Mario Kart. And there is a difference in that, When you think competitive, you're thinking try hard. A lot of their stigmas are like people who ruin the game and stuff. But I think, what we should want to do is, be in a sense kind of casual friendly, especially, at lands and stuff in the future. But it's like we want to host events and play the game how it was largely intended. And I wonder if we were going back to Lance, like I wonder, it's like if we were to host tournaments just for fun in person and all of that, it's like can they like if Panda doesn't see us as an official licensed uh you know tournament series or something. It's like, can they, try to get Nintendo to shut us down and all of that? Um, the thought here is like, would Nintendo want to shut something down if at the end of the day we were just, using their land feature in ways that really it's not used at all, to be honest. I don't like they included a land feature in the game, right? You can play 12 players offline. But you have to think and wonder, it's like, who is actually using this outside of events like these to begin with? And it's like, well, I don't think Nintendo is particularly unreasonable. Like they would have had to include it for a reason in the game because they would want it to happen, right? You would think so at least. But the whole issue is just kind of scary and all of that. And I guess this is where I kind of want to jump to the idea of money in the game and all that kind of stuff. And I know I kind of want to look back, but like before the last few years, the community was largely just passion driven. Uh, we played because we wanted to play other good players and meet people, and that was kind of enough, right? It was for the love of the game, and obviously the community is a lot bigger right now, and I think a lot more people, are joining because they have a love for the game. But you know, I feel like we don't necessarily like. Well, a lot of things have improved. I feel like some things have gotten more robotic and all that kind of stuff. You don't really see, like even back on the Wii U days, I remember like we would host like free for all tournaments and just all the top players and stuff would always want to play the FFAs and stuff like that. And we tried like running circuits and MKU and everybody seems very involved on that. And I just don't see it as much anymore. I see, I know Lounge is very popular and all of that, but I wonder, it's just like, do we have much motivation for people to do normal things like tournaments or like, special, events and all that kind of stuff? Or are we focused on one of two things? One is, the MMR system that we've, created that people seem to be very, everybody sees it as, like the ultimate metric right now, which is kind of strange for a gaming community because it acts more like the solo queues that you see like in game for a lot of things, whether it's like GSP and Smash or like just the single player online for Splatoon and stuff. But the reason why this is a worry for me is because if we have solo queue being such a priority, it seems really hard to advertise events and stuff like that and get noticed because at the end of the day, these are pickup games. And the things that get noticed are your larger tournaments with conclusions and all of that. And we still have those, right? MKU finals just happened. It's always a fun time, but you gotta think about what motivates us and all that kind of stuff. And I think one of the other big motivators recently has been money. We've seen tournament series pop up and all of that, a lot of affiliates, a lot of prize tournaments and all that kind of stuff. And I'm starting to notice that it's hard to run events now without cash prizes. And obviously that's the direction you want to go, right? It adds extra validity to it in a sense. But I want to kind of talk about you know money's great to be an influencer, but I want to reiterate that if we aren't doing this for a love of the game to begin with, none of this is going to happen. None of this will even be possible if there's not really a love for the game and all that kind of stuff. And you know our community really was a passion project to begin with, and I think that's what makes it special and unique in some ways. you know I believe as a staff team we've never been in this because we see this as like a money making business. Like that's nonsensical if you think about it. There's a bunch of other esports that we could get into that would be so much more efficient for that. So there's a bunch of ways to make money. I don't think it's by taking a risk with building a new website that's not even guaranteed to have long-term sustainable success. We have to work for everything. It's tough at times, but I think the benefit behind this is that you guys should know that we're in it for the right reasons, right? uh, we did this before, like we were even thinking about prize tournaments just because we wanted to be able to host more tournaments and all that kind of stuff and have an easy to use system. And obviously, we're still working at on that and all of that. But you know, I do feel like we have done a lot, and sometimes I think it's not really on the day to day super recognized that much. And I do just want to ask that you all, I guess, are careful, I guess, about the things that we either take for granted or the opportunities that come up because you know I'm not going to single out one in particular, but we've seen outside groups and stuff offer like cash tournaments and stuff for Mario Kart and all that kind of stuff, and they asked to work with us because we have a large and dedicated player base that would make for the ideal advertising space, and a lot of these tournaments they're successful enough, they're willing to put stuff down and all of that, but you know it doesn't always it's not always something that's going to be around forever if they don't see it as profit generating or marketable and all that kind of stuff. And while we want to be marketable, so we can have these opportunities in the future, having more in-person tournaments in real life where we can like meet up with friends and all that kind of stuff and have a good time. Sounds magical in many ways, but like trust me, being marketable is a good thing, but we have to remember at the end of the day that the if we are going to get these opportunities, a lot of times it is strictly because we are seen as profitable and not because people just out of the goodness of their heart want to help us. And I know there are some people out there that want to help us, right? We've met people that have good intentions and all of that. We've met when we have connections to other community members that also want the best, I would say, for the community and all that. But I just want to say that we should be, if you saw my tweet, we should be very careful about who we work with and all of that. And I just want to, I don't really know how much more I need to go into this, but we need to be careful about who we work with because we want to make sure that they're in it for the right reasons. Um, One thing I guess that's kind of scared me on, like a personal note, as somebody who's, spent a lot of time, trying to build the community up in MKC and all of that is, technically speaking, there's nothing stopping other people from, trying to, outdo us in a sense, right? This is kind of where this all kind of comes back to, right? Uh, in terms of quality and understanding what makes a good Mario Kart tournament, I don't think that really anybody else can hold a candle to us because we do it because we want to do it. We have that experience. We're MK players at the end of the day. This stuff matters to us. But, if there are people out there that, see the game as, profitable or, kind of a hidden giant or something, there's a lot of people that can swoop in that are bigger and stronger than us. A lot of organizations, making the moves similar to, what Panda's, done recently with Smash. There are people out there that, are bigger than us and have more money than us. And, they could, try to monopolize, in a sense, everything that we've worked for over the years. And I don't know if this is going to happen, in the near future. It certainly could down the road if, it's deemed that the MK community is, big enough to, be worth, sacrifices and all that kind of stuff. But if that time does ever appear, I do, and I don't, like I mentioned, I don't like to ask for stuff a lot. I really hope that, our efforts on the side and community haven't gone unnoticed because again it's really easy you know to lose what you have if somebody more powerful decides that they want to do the things that you want to do. And I just want to point out a lot of people on the outside probably like what we've built or are intrigued by what we've built over the years. Before MKC we weren't nearly as big as we are today, but if all the early hard work is already done, suddenly things become a lot more attractive for people, want to swallow you up in a sense. And when it comes back to the whole land thing of Panda and everything, you have to wonder. It's like, well, are we relevant enough to Nintendo that we can get officially licensed by them in the future and all that? And I'm not sure what the answer is, but if there are people that can, that have more power than us and all that kind of stuff, you know, it'd be very possible that they decide that they're going to do things their way, and that could easily be for better and especially for worse. And I just want you all to remember, you know, the things that I know we've had our share of mistakes, right? But I do think that we've put a lot of hard work, dedication, and time into MKC, and I really hope that people you know consider that and what we have done and tried to do, because if in the future we do all this stuff and it turns out that other people want to kind of swoop in and run tournaments instead of us, I think it'd be kind of sad, and I don't think it's even going to be better for the game, quite frankly, because money's one thing. There's always going to be the people that take advantage because prize money's prize money, right? But like we're seeing a Smash right now, a lot of the reason why this is such a big issue is because the grassroots part of the community is essentially being stepped on by an organization that has license, or has Nintendo approval in a sense to run their own circuit and stuff like that. And the whole idea of esports becoming overly corporate is kind of scary in my opinion. And the only way I think that we can really do, I guess, everything justice, starting with Smash, first of all, is if the community recognizes, the efforts of, the tournaments and time that, the community itself built. I know right now the Panda Cup, their circuit that is licensed and all of that, all the top players are trying to boycott it now. And this is a scary, dangerous move and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's probably the right decision because you know Panda did a lot of very dangerous things to try to monopolize itself, it appears. And like I've said before, this is what's scary, I guess, about the future and stuff, and why MK Central is, kind of always wanted to be a centralized project that includes everybody in the community, because the community itself are the people that care the most. The community is, the community involves all the people from the different parts of the scene. That those are the people that we want to get together because I think we're all stronger together, and I think that's where the best product will come. A lot of times, you see, startups, bought out, and immediately things turn for the worse. It appears because the new people, the people are powerful people, they just don't get it, and I just don't want this to ever happen to our community, and I really don't want to see a future where people put in a lot of time and effort and hard work, like in the Smash community, and see them, kind of screwed out of a lot and out, quite a lot of money that they put down that they didn't have to put down but did because, they just had a love for the game and all that. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. So, what do I want really? Well, again, I still want us, be able to pursue more opportunities in the future, right? Uh, I worry sometimes about, the possibility for us to do new things. Obviously, one of my ideas recently was, the Central Rank Tournament Series, and we've been doing like test tournaments for that recently. And I don't know, like things have, like we've gotten the data that we need now, but there are, things about the community that I would, hope would be better than it actually is right now. So I want to ask, if you're watching still up to this point, I appreciate it if you are. I assume most won't. But I just want to ask that you individually do your part to, make this a better place, uh, to kind of push things forward, if you will, give things a chance, uh, provide feedback, participate. Uh, I know I haven't done like the tournament organizing myself as much recently until these test tournaments. I used to do it all the time, but hasn't been as much in the last few years. But I really hope that we can make the immaturity that sometimes comes from online communities less, and that will come with more with more of the calm or the calmer people, the more chill, speaking up and all that instead of being discouraged or just assuming that everything sucks. So why should I put in the effort? Because I think the majority of this community are really good people, and there's always a very loud minority all the time that is very overwhelming. I just want people to be friendly with each other, you know and motivating in a sense, and I think that there's a lot of good. I just want it to be emphasized more, and I think we don't always do that when we kind of seclude ourselves to just our ordinary teams and all of that, which is a pretty common behavior since our main competitions are team focused. uh Rage is another thing that you don't really like to see a lot. People get really angry and make things personal over like FFAs and stuff, and that makes other people not want to play stuff too. My other question is sometimes wondering, like, do people even like playing that much? Like, do people want to play individual tournaments and all of that? So, like, stuff like stuff like that. I mean, you just play something, it just seems people get so discouraged or demotivated so quickly. And at the end of the day, I think this whole comes back to the whole wanting to play things casually thing again. Obviously, we want to get better and all that kind of stuff and push ourselves to our limits and all that kind of stuff. But it's like you got to enjoy things for what they are at first and all of that. Another thing I really kind of want to see also out of like future tournaments is like people just trusting that staff's going to put in the work to have a good thing. And I this is like a thing in lounge also. It's just like nobody signs up unless they think something is going to happen. And it's like, well, if everybody's like that, then it's like, well, nobody's going to realize that this could be something that happens if people just sign up if they want to play initially, right? It's like, oh, I don't know if I want to if I don't know if I want to queue up or something. It's like the whole like my vote won't matter thing. It's like if the majority of people think this way, then it's like, well, I guess that just sucks for everybody, right? And I guess last thing I've had is I've had thoughts, and this is like the personal notes to close things out. I've had thoughts before. It's like, when I was like proposing my TCR Central Rank idea, I was talking to Felix about it a little bit, and I remember his first reaction was like, "Why don't you do this for a game or like a different game and all that kind of stuff? Because this may just be too advanced for the community and all that kind of stuff." And I did think about it, and it's like, is it unfortunate that I chose this game to want to be more competitive at or more try hard at? And I contemplated it a little bit. It's like, do I really wish that like I would have chosen another community? Because maybe it'd be easier for me, or maybe more people would see me as an influencer, or more people would follow me or something like that, and maybe I'd be able to do more meaningful things or run bigger events. And I thought about it a little bit, and while that all seems enticing and all that kind of stuff, I think the answer is no, and I do want to be you know a part of this game and this community, and I have a love for this game. I really enjoy the community. Obviously, it has its downsides, right? But it's like I don't think I'd be able to, do the things I do for other games because, at its core, Mario Kart is my favorite game series and all of that. So, again, I mean, I guess you could say that in a sense makes me trapped, right? It's like, well, you gotta love what you have, right? And I realize, while maybe it would be easier to, put in, effort toward another game series. I just don't think it would be the same. So, again, I want to try to make a difference in this community. I hope that I can motivate a few people. And I hope that you all can do the same if, this is a game and community that you care about in the slightest. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I don't expect that everybody's going to watch it this much in a row, but if you did, I appreciate it. I know I talk a lot, probably too much, trying to make videos that are shorter, but I'm struggling right now and all of that. So anyways, this is just kind of me rambling and all that about, things that are on the mind. So I hope a few of you, I guess, enjoyed kind of listening to this perspective. But I do think it's important. And I hope that, we can start, motivating others, be more positive and to, consider doing more to give back and help. Because I feel like a lot of times, like mentioned, uh, a lot of effort has been put in to, even get to this point, and it can be better, but it is a community effort, and we obviously can't do it alone as a staff. So, I think that's it. Thank you all, and we'll see you in regular scheduled programming and all that stuff in the future videos. But for now, have a good night, and we'll talk to you later on. Thanks.